Hi everyone, I'm Michael at Bad Goblin Games. It's New Year's Day. Here in the States, that means New Year's Day college football, a few hours before kickoff. So I'm going to take some time to try to get a recording in for Agents of Conflict. And what we're going to look at today is a demo slash play test of our battalion scale rules. So let me explain a little bit what that means. The default or core rules of Agents of Conflict treat a base or stand as a company. So that's the smallest tactical unit in the game. This represents about 100 soldiers. Again, that exact number isn't too important. And these companies are grouped into larger tactical units that we refer to as battalions. This scale easily facilitates battles, say, of 8 to 10,000 per side on a 6x4 table. If you can go up to an 8x4 table, then 10 to 12,000 per side is pretty feasible. Though you're going to have challenges when you are fighting battles, say tens of thousands per side. So, for example, if you're trying to do something with in the Napoleonic era, which you really saw the number or the size of the armies just grow exponentially. This is really the first time that we saw, not the first time, but I guess where it became the norm, the concept of total war and conscription. So now you had armies instead of 5,000 per side. Now you started seeing tens of thousands per side. So 60 to 70,000 per side was kind of the norm. So to facilitate those size battles, we have our battalion scale optional rules. And all this really means is now, instead of this being a company, this is now an entire battalion of 500 or 600. And I've said before, and I've written before, that the terms company and battalion they're just names. I realize, say, if you're looking at, say, that something with the American Civil War, they don't really use the term battalion. I want to say they use the term regiment at that point. So call it whatever you want to call it. Again, with the battalion scale rules, this is now a battalion rather than a company. So this is the smallest tactical unit. I then prefer to just kind of depending upon the battle, and you'll see why when we get to the demo. We then have also where instead of having to issue orders to every single battalion, you can issue orders at what I call like the brigade level. So you would have multiple battalions grouped into a brigade, and then you can issue, let's say, an order to the entire brigade. And again, you'll see why that's important when we actually get to the demo, because you don't want to, with the number of battalions you're going to have, you don't want to issue orders to every single one of those. It's far too many, especially when you're dealing with 60,000 soldiers per side. So in today's demo, we're going to do Agincourt or Agincourt. Not exactly sure how it's pronounced. Though this was a battle during the 100 Years' War between England and France. Historically, this was an English victory. The French army was anywhere from larger to much larger, just depending upon the source. So there were a couple of first-hand accounts of this battle, and even though that's the case, the composition of the forces still seems to be in question. I've seen numbers for the English anywhere from 5,000 to 9,000. I'm using 6,000 or so in this battle, and I've seen some that say the English had, for example, mounted archers. I'm not using any because most of the sources I read did not mention that. The French, I've seen numbers anywhere from 12,000 to 30,000. I'm doing about 17,000 for the French. And again, their composition of their forces is in question also. For example, I've seen some that say they had archers, some that say they had archers and didn't use them. I've seen some sources that make no mention of archers. So, for example, I have no archers for the French. I have some crossbowmen because those seem to be unquestionably there, though. For example, like the archers, there seems to be question whether or not they were actually present at the battle. So don't have them here. Agincourt probably isn't the best example of the battalion scale rules, because we could probably fit that on, say, an 8x4 table using our company scale. though this allows me to kind of keep the demo pretty small, literally and figuratively, I can't even say the word, and you'll see that in a moment, and thus kind of keep the video a bit on the short side. So that's enough for me. Let's get to the game. So this is our Agincourt battlefield. One thing I did mention in the intro is the scale of the miniatures that I'm using today. In today's demo, I'm actually using 2mm miniatures. I kind of realized that even though we don't care about the scale of miniature with Ages of Conflict, I tend to use a lot of 6mm. Though, again, I've mentioned that we use 2 and 15 and 10 and 28, so I wanted to do a demo with a different size today. So today I'm using 2mm. And what you can see with 2mm at the battalion scale is that the battlefield really gets shrunk down. So if we measure this out, I mean, from one side to the other is, about 18 inches or say 46 or so centimeters. So it's from wide. So it's a much smaller battlefield. And what this represents, I guess let me just kind of explain a few things here. So this is basically where the battle took place. This is about 1,000 yards across. From one side of these woods to the other is about 800 to 1,000 yards. It kind of fluctuates. And this is, again, really small. So this is about 8 inches, about 20 centimeters. So it's a real small battle, real small footprint for the battlefield. So again, probably not the best battle to use as an example of the battalion scale rules, though I wanted to kind of show a few things. Chiefly that the footprint of the battle really shrinks down, particularly when using 2mm miniatures. So a few things that change here at the battalion scale. One is well, I guess the main thing really is that since the footprint of the battle is shrinking, we also need to shrink the range of our weapons and our movement. So typically, for example, a war bow or longbow has a long range of 35 centimeters. In the battalion scale, that gets shrunk down to a maximum of 6 centimeters. So that's really going to be the maximum range of a war bow at the battalion scale rule. So much smaller. Movement also goes down. So for example, infantry at the company scale, their base move is 5. At the battalion scale, their base move goes down to 3. So a few things to keep in mind. So you don't, I guess if you're doing a battalion scale battle, you probably don't want to start too far away from each other because it's going to take you a little bit longer just to engage if you do that. So you can see here, we're starting pretty close. So the battlefield, let's talk about that. This represents the approximate battlefield that Agincourt took place at. So we have basically 2 sets of woods or forests, and in the middle is the battlefield. So over here is Agincourt, and we have a couple little small trees that represent the forest, and then the village itself. On this side, there's another village. I'm not exact sure of the pronunciation. Tramcourt. I'm sure I got that wrong both times. But regardless, there's another village on this side, and then we see some roads that were connecting them. In between is where the battle took place, and this was basically farmland. So the French encountered a few problems that led to their defeat. The largest of which was the battlefield, because this was a plowed field. This was farmland. Though the previous day there had been some heavy rains, and so even before the battle started, the ground was just in really pretty bad shape. It was muddy. I mean, it was a freshly plowed field. So combine that with the rains, it was mud. Then you have thousands of soldiers advancing across the field, and it churned it up and made it much, much worse. And then the second is the constraints. I mean, you can see here we have our English, and they're pretty well, I mean, they're able to bring their entire force to bear, whereas the French, they can't do that. They have a couple of different battles or guards. So we have a vanguard, a mid guard, a middle guard, and then their rear guard. And you can simply see they're basically stacked on top of each other. So they at no point were able to bring their entire force or their entire army to bear on the English, whereas the English, they could do that. So there's a few other reasons, but those are probably the main reasons the French lost the day. Again, there's some others, though. Those are the ones that we're really kind of focusing on today. So the armies themselves, the English army you can see is much smaller. I don't have separate stands or bases for the leaders or commanders out here. So we can just kind of assume, like Henry, for example, he's somewhere in here. Well, I'm not using separate stands for them today. But what we have here in the middle are two battalions of basically men-at-arms or infantry or footmen. And then they're surrounded by several, thousands of archers. This is about 2,500 archers per flank. So about 5,000 total archers and about 1,000 infantry there in the middle. And I don't have it on here, but the archers, they have placed in front of them basically like fields of spikes or stakes. So basically when the French get into hand combat with them, not only are they dealing with just the rigors of dealing with hand combat, now they have all these stakes to deal with. The French forces, we have on both flanks here, right here and here, we have knights. And then we have in between them a large group of infantry. We have some crossbowmen back here, many more infantry, and then some mounted men-at-arms. So not knights, but still mounted and with some pretty decent equipment. Whereas these are all just dismounted men-at-arms. So I mentioned in the introduction issuing orders by battalion, or I'm sorry, by brigade. So that's kind of what I'm going to do today, and I'm going to change it up a little bit. So, for example, I'm going to treat initially, say, all these archers as one brigade, so they would just get one order. If during the course of the battle, maybe I want to do something different with this one, then I might, issue that battalion, a different order. But we just don't want to be in a situation where we're issuing, orders to every single battalion, because that gets ugly. So treat these more as brigades, and that'll cut down on the number of orders that you have to issue, and then that will consequently cut down on the time it takes to play the game. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to remove Agincourt, and I'm going to move these woods over here, and I'm going to use this area to roll the dice. That way we can kind of see what's going on. So let's get to the game. We're going to jump into the first turn, and you can see I've already issued orders, and they're issued by brigade. So really for the English over here, we just have 3 orders. So I'm treating this as one brigade, these archers one brigade, the infantry as one brigade, and then these archers as one brigade, and it's the same thing for the French over here. I would say if you're doing brigade orders, then I would issue them by the proximity of the units and by their type. So I would not issue, even though these infantry and these archers are really right by each other, I would not issue them the same order, because I'm expecting 2 different actions with those units. I could issue them one if I wanted to, but I would say that since they're just different unit types, that I would issue them 2 different orders. So I've already issued all the orders. Let's go ahead and roll initiative. We're going to use the blue for the French, red for the English, and let's roll initiative. So again, if you haven't seen any of our demos thus far, what we're looking for with initiative are successes. A success is a roll of 6 or more, and we evaluate each die roll individually. So the more successes you have, the better. So let's roll. Here's our English. We have a 9 and a 5, so that's 1 success. In our French, a 2 and a 3, no successes, so the English win initiative. That means they go first, so they're going to flip over a token first, or an order first. They're going to flip over these archers. They have first missiles, which means they cannot move, so they basically do nothing. So now, this is alternating action, so the English issued, revealed an order, and if that order allowed movement, they would now move. Okay, so the English went first. Now the French are going to activate a unit, and we're going to activate these knights here. They have march orders. So this ground is rough ground. This is a mud field at this point, so it's hindering terrain. That means these French, as they advance across this field, they have to do so at a pretty slow pace. They can't charge. Basically, it's taking them a while to get from point A to point B. So with march orders, that means they can move up to their over smooth ground. They can move up to their quick pace, which is double their move. At the battalion scale, their move is 4 centimeters. So if they could move at a quick pace, they can move 8. Though since this is rough ground, they are limited to their ordinary move, or their ordinary pace, which is equivalent to their move. Their move is 4. So over rough ground, they can move 4 centimeters. So not much. So they will move 4 centimeters. It's going to take their order off. They're not going to do anything else. Back to the English. Just review orders for these footmen. They don't go anywhere. They're going to stand pat. So we'll go back over to our French. We'll activate the other knights. They have march orders as well. They're going to go 4 centimeters. Back to our English. First missiles. They're not going to go anywhere. Activate these French with the footmen. They have march orders. Now they can, so again, rough ground, they can go at their move, which for infantry is 3 centimeters. So they will move 3 centimeters. So one issue that the French encounter here also, along with the terrain, is just what's their command structure. They didn't really have like a central authority figure during this battle, whereas the English, they had Henry over here, Henry V, commanding everybody. The French king elected to not actually attend this battle. So he had basically a group of marshals and what have you, and none of them could really agree on what to do and how to carry out the battle. And they were also so convinced they were going to roll the English that there was a lot of, hey, we want to get there first, kind of mentality. Because remember, this wasn't. There was a lot of noble figures, and not so much the archers, but with the men at arms here on the English side. Really, the goal wasn't so much to kill them as it was to capture them and then ransom to get money. So they were all really eager to get across this field to try to capture who they could to try to get that ransom. This is a little bit hard for us to replicate in this game, particularly with it being a solo game. If it wasn't a solo game, what I'd probably do is maybe have multiple people commanding the French forces and seeing if that can create some discord. But since it's a solo game, it's kind of hard for me to really replicate that. So get back to the game. No more English to activate, so this is all just French at this point. So we're going to activate their crossbowmen. They can't shoot that far, so they're going to move up. I ran a test with this yesterday, and it was kind of eerie that for the first 3 quarters or so of the game, it was really carrying out exactly, I think, as it probably did historically. The French were suffering pretty horrendous losses. They had really well over half their army was gone. So I'd say, I think about 10 battalions worth, whereas the English had only lost 2. So really at that point, the battle should have ended, though I kind of kept it going, and then eventually some of this, really the French mounted men-at-arms here in the back eventually reached the English lines and started doing some real damage. And then I think I had 2 or 3 really bad rolls in a row for the English, which kind of did them in. And I also saw, and maybe we'll see it again today, is that one issue the French, since their forces are so compounded, once these units started receiving breakpoints and were starting to fall back involuntarily, it started causing just it started causing a massive traffic jam with the French. And hopefully we'll see that again today, because I think that's kind of how it probably carried out historically as well. So that's the end of reveal orders of movement. Let's go on to combat. All right, so that's the end of reveal orders of movement. We're going to go on to combat now. And then combat's carried out in 4 different phases. First off is units with first missiles, and I shouldn't have taken these off. It's kind of dumb of me. So units with first missiles activate first, then those with march orders. And what I'm talking about at this point is if they have missile weapons, okay? So if first missile weapon, units with missile weapons can cast their missiles, then any units that have missile weapons on march orders can then cast their missiles. Then we do hand-to-hand, obviously, which we don't have here. And then units with second missiles. And second missiles are units with slower weapons. So those are weapons that just take much longer to use. So in that case, the only element on here with second missiles would be the French heavy crossbowmen here. But they were not issued second as missiles this turn, so they can't shoot anyway. We might have some units within range here. So along the maximum range with these archers is 6. Let's see. All right, so we have some within range already. So, and we measure from closest point on a base to the closest point on a base. So that's 2 units within range. On this side, they're out of range. Let's just look over here real quick. Well within range. And slightly out of range. Okay. So these 2 battalions are going to cast their arrows here, and then this one there. The actual numbers for the units don't change aside from presence. Presence per battalion does go down. Actually, I'm sorry. Well, I shouldn't say go down. I shouldn't say it goes down. It does change. So basically, at this point, all infantry have a presence of 2. Horse or cavalry has a presence of 4. So, but the actual, like their values for hand combat, range combat, command, none of that really changes. So anyway, let's go ahead and get some combat going here. So these 2 battalions are going to use their bows against these knights, and these are knights. These are mounted men-at-arms, so they're pretty well armed. These are knights, so they're a little better trained and a little better equipped. So they're wearing nice plate. We're going to say they have shields. So that's going to give them a defense of 9. So when I roll these dice, I'm looking for successes, and my target number is the unit's defense. So in this case, I need 9s. So it's going to be a pretty tall order, but let's see if we can get some luck here. Well, I've got 1, an 8, and a 9, so that's 1 success. So now our French knights roll their casualty check, and the number I need here is 5 plus the number of successes, so I have 1 success. So my target number is a 6, so I need one of these to be a 6 or more to pass this test. And I rolled a 2 and an 8, so that's a success. The next battalion attacks, and I have no successes this time, a 1, 6, and an 8. So we'll take theirs off, their order off, and we'll go to the other side, and we have 1 battalion within range. All right, a little better, huh? 7, an 8, and a 10. Now the 10 is a critical hit. So that automatically inflicts 1 break token on this cavalry unit. And our casualty check here, again, is 5 plus the number of successes. We have 1 success, so I need a 6. And a 2 and a 6. So that's a successful casualty check. So that's it for combat. Again, we have no one with second missiles. So that's going to be into combat. We're going to take all orders off as we go into our in-turn phase. And then units with breakpoints or break tokens have a chance to remove them now. So they're going to roll, these knights have 1, so they have, they're going to roll a command check, which is 2d10. Each success removes 1 token. And I have a 3 and a 3, so they don't remove any. The break token kind of represents it's a few factors. It can be like a loss of disorganization, a loss of morale, maybe some casualties, some fatigue, some stress. So it's like a nice conglomeration of factors. So that's it for turn 1. Let's go into turn number 2. Okay, so now we're on for turn 2. I already have our orders issued, so we're going to move on to initiative. Our French, a 7 and a 10, so that's 2 successes. Our English, a 2 and a 6, so that's only 1 success. So the French are going to activate first. And this is really going to be more or less a repeat of turn 1, because the French just want to get, they need to get across here as quickly as possible. So these knights, you move 4. Going to activate those English. They don't move. These knights, and I'm just removing some of these tokens as I'm issuing them, just to kind of clear up space, and they're not doing anything otherwise anyway. So English, they don't move. These, oops, I accidentally issued that one the wrong way. So these infantry, they move. The knights really probably should be waiting for the infantry, but they're knights, and they want to get across there as quickly as possible. I mean, and if I remember correctly, historically, they were really charged with trying just to get up here to break up these the archers anyway. So this is, I think, pretty accurate. The last English brigade or order, burst missiles, they don't move, so we'll just move the rest of the French here. And our crossbowmen are still out of range, so they're going to simply move forward. These cavalry here, they're getting jammed up behind the infantry. All right, so now we're going to move on to combat. All right, let's go on to combat. Really, and the only ones that are actually going to be acting this turn are the English archers. So we'll just see how many are within range at this point. Our max range is 6, and we can pre-measure. And that's going to be everyone. Our short range is 2. So let's see, do we have any within? They're within short range. They are not. They are not. Okay, so let's check long range here. All right, so on this flank, we have all of the archers can target these knights, and this battalion is at short range, which means they get an extra dice. On the other flank, we have 4 battalions can target those knights. None of them are within short range. So we'll go ahead and take care of this flank first. This battalion here, they get an extra dice since they're at short range. And we have a 9 and a 10. So that 10's a critical. So we're going to go ahead and put 1 break point or 1 break token on those knights. And now the knights need to make their casualty check. I have 2 successes, so their casualty check number is a 7. Or it's 5 plus the number of successes. And they did pass. I needed a 7. I have an 8 here, so they passed that one. Now we have the other 4 battalions. No successes there. 1 success. They pass their casualty check. 1 success. Oops. All right, and my dice wiped them out. So they failed their casualty check. I rolled I needed a 6, 5 plus 1 success, so a 6. I rolled a 1 and a 4. So not only did I fail the casualty check, but I also rolled the weapon's kill number. Every weapon has a kill number associated with it. So if you fail a casualty check and you roll equal to or lower than that weapon's kill number, the unit doesn't just receive a break token or point, they are removed from the game as a casualty. So the knights here, they did not even make it across the field. So they get removed. Any units within line of sight and within 2 centimeters. At the company scale, that range is 10 centimeters. But again, since we shrink everything down battalion, we go down to 2 centimeters. And so any friendly battalions or units within 2 centimeters and within line of sight to a company that is removed as a casualty has to make a command check. In this case, it's going to be these infantry here. So if they fail this check, they receive 2 breakpoints automatically. So basically, that's them seeing this friendly unit route from the field. And so, failing a casualty check and getting removed doesn't completely mean the entire unit was annihilated. It can be, obviously there's some casualties there, but it can also be just some of the forces just saying, hey, we've had enough, we're gone. Or maybe they made it across, but it wasn't enough to really affect the battle. So again, it's an abstract notion. So, but anyway, they see this happening. They see these knights being cut down. They must make a command check. If they fail, they receive 2 breakpoints. I rolled a 2 and a 3. So they receive 2 breakpoints. And we're going to remove these knights from the game. They are gone. All right, let's go to the other flank. We have 4 battalions that can target those knights. None of them are within short range. So we need 9s. And I'm rolling 3 dice. A 3, a 5, and a 10. So that's an automatic breakpoint. And my casualty check, I passed. The 2nd battalion, 1 success. So I need a 6. I passed that with a 2 and a 7. The 3rd, no successes. And the 4th, no successes. So that's really going to be it for combat this turn. There's no units with march orders with missile weapons that can do anything. No hand combat and no second missiles. So let's go on to the end turn. We have, so let's take these orders off. And we have 2 units with breakpoints, so they get a chance to remove them. We'll roll these infantry first. A 4 and an 8. 1 success means they remove 1. The knights, a 6 and a 9, they remove both of theirs. That was good. So removing those breakpoints it really just represents, say, the unit's leader or captain kind of rallying the troops, right? So what these knights did want is to keep accumulating them with 2. Since their presence at this scale is a 4, and we mentioned that. So cavalry at the battalion scale have a presence of 4. Infantry have a presence of 2. You can have breakpoints up to your presence. Once you breach that threshold, then the unit either falls back or it just routes from the table completely. So they were obviously they were right on the border. They were getting pretty close. So it was pretty imperative that they get rid of some of those. All right, that's the end of turn 2. Let's go on to turn 3. We're starting turn 3 of our demo. The last turn we had a unit of French knights wiped out. So let's go on to initiative. See, I already have all the orders issued. French, 9 and a 4. The English, an 8 and a 9. So the English win initiative. You're going to see a lot of the same thing here, though, because the English, and they're not going anywhere. They have this defensive formation with these spikes or stakes in front of all their archers, so they're not about to abandon that. So English win initiative. they activate first missiles, but they don't go anywhere. The knights, let's see if they can reach archers. They should be able to. Yep. So since this is rough ground, they actually can't charge. If they could charge, and there's a chance that these archers would simply flee in the face of this cavalry charge. But since the knights can't get off a charge on this rough ground, they simply just move into combat. But I'm going to put them right here because now these archers, they get a chance to respond to the knights coming into hand combat with them. So we have a few options. They can either voluntarily withdraw, they can take the charge, or if they have missile weapons, they can try to target these knights as they're coming in. Now these are archers, of course, so they all have bows, and with first missiles, they can target the knights as they're coming in. So let's check our ranges just to see who could target them. And all of these archers can target the knights as they're coming in. Two of them will be at short range. So that actually gets carried out before the knights get into combat, because the knights may just get cut down as they're charging in. So we'll start from the left to the right. So these first two battalions, since they're at short range, they're going to get a bonus dice. My target number is 9. No successes. That's pretty lousy. The second. 1. Well, that was pretty close. 3 8s and a 9, but close doesn't really cut it, I guess. But I did get 1 success. So I need a 6. And I got an 8 and a 1, so that's a success. The next 3 battalions, they only get 3 dice. No successes. All right, we got, move these over to make sure we can see them here. We got 5 and 2 10s. So that's a critical. I don't get, with 2 10s, they don't inflict 2 break points. They still only inflict 1. So I'll just put 1 over there. And now my casualty check number is a 7. Oh, that's not good for the knights. So we saw exactly what I was just talking about. So the knights moved into hand combat, but all these archers unleashed this horrendous volley of arrows at those knights. And you can see the result is the knights that I needed a 7 for the casualty check, I failed because I rolled a 6 and a 1. So again, I hit that kill number because a kill number for a bow is a 1. So just as with the other knights, they are taken off the field. There are no friendly units within 2 centimeters, so none of them have to make a command check. All right, well, that did not work out well for the knights. Me flipping this order as a response to the knights coming into combat does not count as activating an order. So now the English have to activate. They're going to activate these infantry, and they do not move. So we go back to our French, and they all just move forward. March orders. I should also point out that even though I'm treating these as, say, like a single tactical unit for activation purposes, they don't have to be in base-to-base contact. They should be probably pretty close to each other. I would not treat, say, one battalion on this side of the field and one on this side of the field as using them with a single brigade order. That also doesn't mean they need to be in base-to-base contact here. I don't want them too far apart. Not that the English are going to charge forward, but you don't want them too far apart to leave like a gap or anything like that for the enemy to exploit. Though when you're dealing with battalion scale, and if you're using, say, brigade activation, you don't have to necessarily keep them base-to-base contact. As I'm kind of doing that here, but you can see there's some gaps here. All right, back to the French. And this should put So the next turn, these crossbowmen, some of them will actually be within range. So let's, oops. Move them forward. And we'll move these mounted men-at-arms, and they're going to be right behind his infantry. Probably telling them to get out of the way. All right, that is it for combat. Let's go on to in turn. We have one unit with a break token. So we will roll to remove that. A 6 and a 4, so one success, so that token gets removed. All right, that's it. Let's go on to the next turn. All right, we are on turn 4. I hope I kind of lost count, unfortunately. I think we're on turn 4. So I've already issued all our orders. So let's go on to initiative. Our French, 2 10s. They really want to go. English, a 6 and a 4. So the French are going first. They're probably going to be out of range. Just so. Just barely so. All right. So they move up. They are almost within range. I should say almost within. They were almost within range to charge into combat here. All right, so the English, a lot of the same, and they're not going anywhere. So first missiles, but they don't move. The crossbowmen here, they were actually within range, but I'm going to go ahead and move all these battalions up, because if I don't, we're going to get more of a log jam back here than we already have. So, and now I can, probably not that far, but now all of them will be within range to attack on the next turn, whereas before I think it was just this one on the end. All right, they don't move, so let's flip them. Now what you can see what's going to happen here as these crossbowmen are going to stop. So that means this line of infantry, they're either going to have to shift over, or they're going to have to move behind. So they're going to start getting kind of messy over here. And again, that's probably really what happened historically, is there was really just quite a log jam encountered by the French. All right, I'm going to take that order off. It's not doing anything at this point. All right, that's it for. That is it for reveal orders of movement. Let's go on to combat. So these archers are going to unleash a nasty barrage of arrows here, and they're all going to be at short range at this point. So we'll start over here, and we'll say these two are going to target this battalion, these two are going to target this one, and then that one's going to target that one. So being at short range, they get a bonus die. Now these are men-at-arms, so they're still pretty well armored here. Their armor is a 7. It's a 7 rather than a 9, but that's still pretty high. All right, so over here, so I got a 9 and a 10, so that's 1 automatic, and my target number for my casualty check is a 7, a 4, and a 4. So I failed, but I did not get that kill number. That's just another break point on them. But again, they can only have 2. If they get 1 more, then they are fleeing. They're either going to rout or just withdraw. All right, 2nd Battalion. 1 success. They pass their casualty check. All right, so they're going to, these two are going to target that battalion. 1 success. They pass their casualty check. The 4th Battalion, they get 2 successes. And, well, we got another failure and another kill number. So that's kind of a lot. That's a little unusual to see. To see the number of failed casualty checks along with the kill numbers. This is the 3rd one we've had so far, and so this has been a little unusual. But anyway, they fail. They are gone. We have 2 friendly units within 2 centimeters and with line of sight, so they're both going to make this command check. So we're going to do them first. They already have 2. So if they fail this, they're going to be in a really bad spot. Well, it's a leany, but they still pass. I got an 8. Their turn, 2-7, so they pass, so no problem there. All right, the 5th Battalion's going to target that battalion. And I have 2 successes because I have 2 8s. And I passed my check because I needed a 7, and I got an 8 there, so that's good. All right, let's go to the other side. They have some additional targets to choose from. So I think what we're going to do here is this one's going to target there. These 2 are going to target here, and these 2 are actually going to target crossbowmen. So we'll start here first. So these 2 are going to target here, and that's going to be at short range. So an extra dice. Oh, that's a really good roll. I have 3 successes there with an 8, 9, and a critical of 10. So they get an automatic. And my casualty check now is an 8. No, but I passed. There we go. 7 and an 8. The next battalion. Ooh, another critical. And 2 successes. My casualty check is a 7. I failed a 4 and a 6. So they already have 3 breakpoints. They can only take 2. So at the end of this turn, if they don't remove one of those, then they're going to either fall back or rout. If you watch some previous demos, what you see me do is make an immediate check at this point once they cross that threshold. I am trying out a little bit different, so I'm actually giving them a chance to remove the breakpoints at the end of the turn, and if they failed, then they're actually withdrawing or fleeing rather than just immediately doing that. All right, so they're going to target short range. That's a critical, but only 1 success. So my casualty check is a 6. Oops. Got a success. All right, so now the last ones are going to target the crossbowmen. That is short range. That is long range. So they're going to target this battalion. That's long range. The crossbowmen do have some armor. They have a defense of 4, so I need 4s. Oh, look at that. 3 4s. That's pretty uncommon. So my casualty check here is an 8. 5 plus 3 successes. Oh, wow, look at that. 2 10s. Okay, so the crossbowmen just shrugged that off. The next battalion, they're at short range, so they get an extra dice. There's an immediate break token with a critical rather. And I have 3 successes. My target number is an 8. A 4 and a 6. That's a failure. So another break token. It's a failure, but I did not roll the kill number for that bow. So it's just a break token. All right. That is it for first missiles. Nothing for march. Nothing for hand. There's second missiles. So let's go on to the end turn. We're going to roll to remove break tokens here. So we'll start here. They got rid of one of theirs, so they're okay. This battalion, they have 3. They can only take 2. So if they don't remove one of these, then they're either going to fall back or they are fleeing the field completely. Look at that, 2 9s. They needed that, so they removed 2. So yesterday when I did the demo, this is where I really started running into problems. Is we had these units that were reaching their break threshold. Excuse me, they were reaching their break threshold, falling back because just for whatever reason, even though I had probably 4 or 5 that were above that threshold, they were all falling back. None of them actually just routed. So they were falling back and just creating this. They were trying to go one way, and you had the rest of the army trying to go the other way, and it was creating just a massive pile up. I mean, so that's what really caused a lot of problems yesterday. All right, they're going to roll. They don't remove theirs, and these crossbowmen, they remove one of theirs. All right, that is it for the end of the turn. Let me take off the rest of these orders, and we will go on to turn 5. We're on turn 5 now. I've already got our orders issued, so we're going to go on to initiative. French, 7 and a 10, so that's 2 successes. English, a 3 and a 4, no successes, so the French go first. So I'm going to activate this unit first, or this brigade first, whatever you want to call it. So even though there's a bit of a gap here, I'm still treating this as one brigade. I could give them 2 orders. I think things are still clear enough here where I can just work off one and it works just fine. So same things we had last time here. So they're going to move in. They're all going to move in. But we have first missiles here. So as they move in, these archers get to target, and as do these archers. So we'll say, let's see what kind of range we got there. That's short range, is barely. So we'll say these 3 are going to target that battalion. These 2 are going to target that battalion of French. I could kind of break it up however I want, but what I'm looking at here is this battalion already has 1 break point, so I can already see there's a little bit of loss of cohesion or morale or what have you, right? So I'm going to try to pour it on them now. So let's go ahead and, since they're moving into combat, we take that reaction shot now. So all 3 of these are within short range, which means they get an extra dice, and our target number for defense is a 7. All right, I've got 2 successes with an 8. Oops, an 8 and a 10, so that's an automatic break. And their casualty check, they pass with a 9 and a 4. Move that out of the way. 2nd Battalion, that's a nice roll there. We've got 3 successes, including critical, so that's kind of doing its job now. We can see that they're starting to get those break points piled on. Their casualty check here is an 8, which they fail with a 5 and a 2. Bow's kill number is 1, so I did not hit the kill number, but they still failed that casualty check, so that's another break token. And the 3rd Battalion that's targeting them, 1 success with a 9. And I failed. And I rolled the casualty number again. Wow, or the kill number again. So I failed. I needed a 6 for the casualty check. I rolled a 5 and a 1. So they are gone. They are just out of 2 centimeters, so they don't have to make a command check. But that unit, or that battalion, is toast. All right, we have 2 over here that are going to target these. So these 2 groups, these 2 battalions are going to target that battalion of French foot. 1 success. I passed my casualty check. The 2nd Battalion, there's a critical, but it's the only success. Holy cow, this is a really bad day for the French. So again, I failed the casualty check and I rolled another kill number. So this battalion is also gone. So the French are really getting kind of decimated here pretty quickly. So we'll go on to the other side. These two, so I'm going to split them up here. So this is just kind of something I have to remember at this point. So we have 5 battalions of English archers here. These 3 are going to make that response or that reaction shot to the English coming in. These 2 are not. So I'm just going to kind of move this. So when we actually go to combat, they'll still get to shoot, whereas these won't get to. All right, so these 2 are going to target this one. This battalion is going to target that battalion of French foot, and they're all at short range. So we'll start here. That's 1 success, and that success is a 10, so that's a break point. Make my casualty check. A 2 and a 5, so I failed, so it's another break point, but I did not roll a casualty number. And now we got these 2 are going to target this one. My target number is 7, so 2 successes, a 7 and a 9. I failed the casualty check with a 3 and a 5, so that's 1 break point. And the next battalion attacks. I can't seem to roll on one spot here. I tried using a dice tray, but then it kind of blocks everything. So 2 successes, an 8 and a 9. And I need a 7, and again I failed. I roll a 4 and a 6. So I didn't hit the kill number, but I still failed. So that's another break point. So we have, so they actually make it into hand combat. So we'll go ahead and move them in now. But at the end of the turn, they're going to have to roll to remove those break points. And if they don't remove them, then they're going to be they're either falling back or withdrawing. So again, previously, what I was doing was, as soon as they reached that 3rd one, they would be rolling. Now I'm waiting until the end of the turn to do that, because what was happening is they'd roll now, and the end of the turn they'd roll again, and I felt that was probably a bit too much, because then there's a chance they would withdraw twice. So I felt that was probably a bit too much. So now I'm just waiting. I'm giving them a chance to actually remove those before they just automatically withdraw or rout. So. All right, again, these 2 did not response fire. So when we get to combat and first missiles, they actually do get to shoot, whereas these 3 do not. So, all right, that is it. Well, I'm sorry, that is not it for me. I'm still activating units here. I've got a little lost. All right, so they activate. They do not move. These crossbowmen, they have second missiles. So second missiles prohibits movement. Second missiles you're giving to units with slower shooting weapons. So that would be, say, muskets, cannons, a lot of your engines of war like cannons, and your heavy crossbows. All require second missiles. Actually, if you want to shoot them, require second missiles, but you can't move a unit with second missiles. So at this point, these 3 battalions, or this brigade of crossbowmen, come to a stop. So now we start hitting this log jam, because now this infantry, they're like, hey, get out of the way. We can't go anywhere because you're sitting right there. So what we're going to do is they're actually just going to kind of move this way a little bit. You can see that it's already starting to cause some problems, and that problem gets compounded by these mounted men-at-arms here. I mean, they're moving up, and now the infantry was telling the crossbowmen to get out of the way. And these mounted men-at-arms are telling the infantry, hey, get out of the way. So we've got a log jam by the French here. All right, that's it for reveal orders on movement. Let's go on to combat. First missiles, so they've already all shot as a response, so they don't get to shoot again. So we will take that off. Actually, I should have taken that off earlier. These 3 shot as a response, so they don't get to shoot again, but these 2 did not shoot as a response, so they get to target an enemy, and they're going to target those crossbowmen there. So all within range, and this one is going to be within short range. So we're going to target that battalion, and we're going to target that battalion. So we'll do this one first. They get a bonus die at short range. The crossbowmen, and they have a defense of 4. So I've got 3 successes, including a critical, so that's a break point. And my casualty check is an 8, a 5, and a 7, so I failed. So it's another one. All right. The other unit of archers. Now that's 3 more successes, including another critical on these guys. So my casualty check here is 8, and I passed 2 and an 8. Okay, so that's it for first missiles. We'll go on to units with march orders that have missile weapons and can attack. All right, so we move on to, we did first missiles, move on to units with march orders that have missile weapons. Again, this is missile weapons at this point. So even though they have march orders, we're not in hand combat yet, so they're not actually attacking. But we have no units with missile weapons with march orders, so now we move on to hand combat. So hand combat is simultaneous, so even if a unit, say, fails its casualty check before it attacks, it still does get to attack back. So we're going to start here and move down the line. The archers, they all have, again, they have their stakes or their spikes. So what I'm doing at this point with the stakes or the spikes is I'm essentially just giving the archers a bonus to their attack. But anyway, we're going to start here. The French are attacking first, and these are really they're all statistically the same. So they have 3 dice to attack, and their defense is a 7. So they're pretty easily, well, exactly evenly matched. So let's do this one first. I need 7s. 1 success. The English roll their casualty. They pass. The English attack back. No successes. The 2nd Battalion of French attack the English foot. 1 success. And again, I pass the casualty check. The English attack back. 1 success. The French, and they also passed their casualty check. What I had yesterday with the little play test I went through was we had one of them actually get locked in and they probably spent 3 turns just beating on each other, but nothing happened there. I mean, it was a little odd, but that's what happened. So here are the French attack. These archers are lightly armored, so they have a defense of 4. So we're going to start here. 1 success. The archers pass their casualty check, and I'm just going to go ahead and do this second unit of, or this last battalion of English foot over here. 2 successes. So I need a 7, and I rolled a 5 and a 7, so that's a success. Normally these archers, they would only roll 3 dice for hand combat, but I'm giving them 2 bonus dice because again, they have what the English did at Agincourt, the archers anyway. There's some controversy as far as exactly where the spikes were, but they were placed in front of them or placed kind of interspersed. So anyway, the effect of that is I'm just kind of giving the archers some bonus dice to their attack. So they're rolling 5 dice rather than 3. But I need 7s. And I got 2 successes. I need a 7, and I failed. A 3 and a 6. So they get another break point. And the last unit here, 1 success. And they passed. All right, so that is it for hand combat. We move on to second missiles. and we do have one unit with second missiles. That is the French crossbows, and they are all in range at this point. So this one's within short range, so we'll do them first, and then we'll do the last two, and they're going to target the archers on the other side here. So we got 4 dice, and I need 4s. 3 successes. Oh, I got a 9 and a 1, so they pass. Good thing I got that 9. All right, the next 2 battalions, now we're at long range. 3 more successes. I need an 8, and I did not get it. So these archers, they receive a breakpoint. The last unit, crossbowmen, there's a 9 and a 10, so that's an automatic. That's a critical, and I needed a 7 for my casualty check, and I passed with a 2 and a 9. So that is it for combat. Let's go on to the end of the turn. So let's remove our orders, and now we're going to remove break tokens, and I'm just going to start with the English here. Roll for them, they remove theirs. Roll for them, they remove theirs. All right, so these 2, they have to remove some. If not, they're going to be in problem. They need to remove both. They remove 2. Look at that, a 10 and a 7. So again, they pulled off. They removed 2. If not, they would either have been withdrawing or just gone. This battalion, oh, a 2 and a 4. So they failed both of theirs. So again, this is a change. If you watch some previous demos, this is a bit of a change from what I've done in the past. Since they failed both theirs, I'm giving them a chance in the end turn to remove breakpoints before they enact on them. So they had a chance, they did not. Their threshold here is only a 2, and they have 3, so they're still above it. So now they're going to roll a command check. If they fail this command check, if they pass, they withdraw. If they fail, they simply flee the field altogether. All right, so here's a command check. I passed. I only needed a 6. A 6 is typically what we use for success here. I only needed 1. So they withdraw. And they withdraw at the quickest pace possible, but since they're on rough ground, that is only 3 centimeters. They saw that, and they were within line of sight in 2 centimeters, so they make their check. They fail, so they get 2 more breakpoints, but they don't actually act on that now, since we've already been through that with them. They're not obligated to do it a second time. All right, let's check for these crossbowmen and see if they get rid of any. They get rid of 2. So they're hanging on. Let's check for this one. They get rid of theirs. All right, so we can see the French here. They're starting to get these breakpoints starting to pile up here. And we can see the knights are gone. This first line of infantry is disintegrating. So we'll see what happens here in turn number 6. We're in turn 6, and the French are having kind of a rough time of it here. So I've already issued orders. You can see here that I've actually given 2 different orders to these archer units, just because we have one of the battalions is locked into hand combat. So I gave them a different order than the rest. All right, let's go on to initiative. At 3 and a 4, so no successes. A 9 and a 2, 1 success. So the English go first. So we'll activate here. First missiles, they do not move. We'll activate this unit for the English. Mark. Now they're already in hand combat, so they don't actually they don't go anywhere. This battalion, if they only had, say, 2 breakpoints, they could move back. But since they have 3, they are not allowed to advance towards the enemy at this point. So they stay put. We'll flip this oak token for the English, they don't move anywhere. We'll flip this one for the French. Find my tape measure. They move forward. Flip this order for the English. And they don't move anywhere. Flip the crossbowmen order, second missiles, they don't go anywhere. Flip these English archers order, first missiles, they don't go anywhere. And so the French, the cavalry here, they move forward best they can. And I'm just going to go ahead and take off some of these that aren't going to be doing anything. All right, so that is it for reveal orders and movement. Now we're going to go on to combat. The first missiles. So French are going to go first. They're the only ones with the first missiles. So we'll go ahead and activate here. And they're going to target this next wave of incoming infantry. I think they are all at long range, just barely so. Let's see, can they see them? They can. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these two here, and then here, here, and then here. All right, they're all at long range. So starting here, target number is a 7. 1 success. Well, failed that casualty check right off the bat. But I did not roll a kill number. 2nd Battalion. No successes. 3rd Battalion. 1 success. And I passed the casualty check. 4th Battalion. No successes. 5th Battalion. 1 success. And they pass your casualty check. So so really that didn't turn out bad for the French at all that time. I mean, out of all that, five battalions really only resulted in one break token. It's hard to get much better than that, I guess. First missile still. I'll go over to the English archers on the other side. We're going to do 2 more here. And again, you have some freedom. We do allow you to kind of choose your targets here. Though they already have 3. And what I want to do is try to pour a few more onto them here. I don't want to give them a chance to regroup. So I'm going to try to get a few more break tokens on them. So 2 here, and then there, and then there. And these 2 are going to be at long range. So I need 7s. 3 8s. All right, that's 3 successes. Oh, but I passed. I rolled a 10 for that casualty check, so that was good for them. Next battalion, no successes, so that did not work out. They're going to be at long range. I need 4s against the crossbowmen. 2 7s and a 10, so that's an automatic break point. And my casualty check is an 8. Ooh, well, they're gone. 2 1s. You can't get much worse than that. So they're going to be gone. And this is going to be kind of rough for the French. So again, 2 centimeters and with line of sight. That's going to be them, and them, all checking to see if they receive any kind of break points. Again, the break points representing like a loss of morale, loss of cohesion, disorganization. Again, many factors all roll into one. They don't roll because I mean they're not. This is when they're falling back. It's kind of a controlled fallback. I mean it's like a controlled retreat. So they don't actually see that. They're technically not with the line of sight. So I'm going to go ahead and take them off first. And we're going to check for the others. So we're going to do them first. Again, if they fail, they get 2 break points. If they pass, Do the other crossbowmen. They pass. I got a 10. Another 10, so they pass. And they fail. So they get two break tokens over here. All right. And then this battalion attacks them, and they're at short range, so they get 4 dice. 3 successes. So my target number is an 8. Wow, okay, not bad. 5 and a 1, so they fail, and they roll that kill number, so they are gone. And again, they are probably out of range. Yep. They are within range. So they must roll again. They passed 7 and a 5. So those crossbowmen just got annihilated pretty well there. All right, first missiles. We'll go on to missile units with march orders, of which there are none. So we go to hand combat. So we got a few battalions locked into hand combat here. We'll start here. We'll have the French attack first. Target number is a 7. I'm going to call that a leanie. So I'll roll that over. All right, 2 successes, an 8 and a 9. Oh, look at that, a 9 and a 10. If they pass, I'm just going to go ahead and do all the French here. Ooh, that's a break point. So that's 1 success, but it's a critical. So I need a 7 for my casualty check, and I passed. And the last one against the archers, so I only need 4s there. 2 successes. They failed their casualty check. 2 3s. So failed the casualty check, but didn't hit the kill number, so let's get a break point. All right, now let's go and do the English here. They attack back. Same thing, I need 7s, 1 success. And I rolled all over the place. 2 6s, so they pass. The next battalion, 1 success. I need a 6, they pass. Here's a 9. The archers, and again, they get these bonus dice because they're fighting in this field of stakes. 2 successes, I got 2 9s. Gosh, I am doing bad with my rolls today. I'm just kind of rolling all over the place. 3 and a 6, so I failed that casualty check, but did not roll the break point, so they get another one. So that battalion really has break points piled on. So really what's going to happen at the end of this turn is they're going to be falling back or routing regardless. I mean, they have 5. The most they can get rid of is 2, which is still going to put them above their threshold. So at the end of this turn, they're going somewhere. It's just a matter of where. All right, that's it for hand combat. Second missiles, and we have 1 battalion of crossbowmen left who can attack. So they will target this unit here. That's at long range. I need 4s. I got a 9. I'm sorry, 2 9s and a 4. So their casualty check is an 8. 2 4s, they fail. So they get a break token here. All right, so that is it for second missiles. That's the end of combat. Go to the end of turn, remove our tokens. And let's remove breakpoints. I'm going to do the English first. They get rid of theirs. They get rid of theirs. 1 and a 6, so they get rid of theirs. All right. It's going to... So they're going somewhere. It's just a matter of what happens. So they're going to try to remove some first. They do not. So using the French dice. So they failed to remove any. So let's see what happens. Again, if they fail, they are just removed from the game completely. No, they failed. A 1 and a 2. So they are gone completely. They are just out of range. All right, so that entire battalion just gets picked up, and there are no friendlies within 2 centimeters, just barely. but that entire battalion gets picked up. They're gone. Let's check these guys. They get rid of one, so they are okay. Let's check them. And they get rid of one. So they're okay. All right, that is it for turn 6. What I'll probably do is one more turn here. We'll see what happens, because this is I mean, it's turning out a little bit better today for the English than it was yesterday. And yesterday was turning out really good for the English, but today it's turning out even better. Though this is about where they just kind of several bad within 4 rolls. I think they had like 2 or 3 just disastrous rolls, and so the number of losses went from, I think for the English, went from maybe 2 battalions to losing like 5, just like back to back to back. So it really just turned, and they don't have much to lose. So once they lost that, the French were able to just kind of turn their flank and really just annihilate them from that point. So we'll probably do 1, maybe 2 more turns just to see how it goes. That's it for turn 6. All right, we're in turn 7 now, so we'll see how this turn goes. Maybe do 1 or 2 more turns here. We have a couple of French battalions engaged in combat. The English have lost nothing at this point, so they're doing pretty well. We'll see how that holds up when we have this second line of French infantry coming up. So let's roll for initiative. 10 and a 6 by the French. 8 and an 8 by the English. So that's 2 successes. So now we just go for the next for the highest individual roll, which is the French with a 10. So they win initiative. They're going to go first. They're going to flip this order. This is March, so they're not going to do anything since they're already in hand combat. The English are going to activate their archers here. First missiles, they're not going to move. Second missiles for the crossbows, they're not going to move. First missiles for the other brigade of English archers, they're not going to move. Let's check our French infantry here. They're going to start moving forward. They can actually get into hand combat. A couple of them. One of them. 2 of them, I guess. Yeah, 2 of them can. So they're gonna move up. So what we're gonna do, so they can actually get engaged. I'm just gonna move them right here, just to kind of show that these 2 can get engaged. And I'm gonna go ahead and move the rest of them up. Then we'll finish that. They can get to about right there. I'm gonna move this order out of the way. They're going to kind of get stacked up behind here just in case. So they're all going to hang out about right there. All right, so let's go ahead and complete this. So they're actually entering hand combat. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to have these 3 respond with their arrows, and they're going to be they're going to be at short range. So these 2 are going to target this battalion. This one's going to target, this one's going to target this battalion. These 2 on this battalion, and this one on this battalion. All right, so I need 7s. That's 3 successes. I need an 8. I got an 8, so they passed. The next battalion, that's 1 success, but it is a critical. And that's a pass. We'll say it's a pass, so they pass their casualty check. And I was rolling too many dice that entire time. I had 5 dice picked up. Let's do that again. 4 there. We had a critical. And that's 3 successes. So he fails. It's actually going to work out better. And then the next battalion, 2 successes, and he passed. Okay, actually worked out better, that mistake. And then right here, 1 success. So I need a 6 for my casualty check, and I have a 6 and a 10, so that's a That's a success. So we'll go ahead and move them into hand combat. They did not quite make it, just because of that bowed line, so they didn't quite make it in. All right, so when we go to first missiles, and we actually do activate them, these two can still fire, these cannot. We'll activate them. They're not going anywhere. Now let's activate. Actually had them on separate orders. Shouldn't have moved them yet. So they've already actually moved them. All right, so now we just have French to move. We have our cavalry here. And they're not really going to go too far because they're really starting to get kind of stacked up. Now they reform that entire line now. All right, I'm just going to take that off. Take that off. I'm going to take this off just to kind of clean things up. All right, so that's it for our review orders and movement. Let's go on to combat. First missiles. So these three cannot shoot. These two can. So they're both going to target that battalion. They're at short range. We got 4 dice. I have a critical and a total of 3 successes. So my target number here is an 8. I failed with 2 3s. And now the other battalion, 1 success. Passed. Good, that's a good thing. Okay, so let's go. So that's done. We'll go to the other first missiles unit of archers. We have 5 of them here. Let me check my ranges. They're all going to be within range. Just want to check for checking to see about short range. Yeah, I think they're all just out of short range, so that's okay. All right, what we're going to do, we're going to put 3 on this battalion and 2 on this battalion. We're going to try to pour a little bit extra on this one since they're pretty close to breaking. So we'll start here. All right, that's another one right off the bat. It's a critical. All right, that's 2 successes. My casualty check is a 7, passed. Second battalion, no successes. And the third battalion, 1 success. And I passed the casualty check with a 10. All right, so the other 2 are going to target this battalion. 2 successes. Sorry, I failed. I needed a 7. Only got 6 there. And the second, 1 success. And I passed. Okay. All right, so it turned out okay for the English that time. They have a chance to remove a couple of French battalions. No march. We'll do hand to hand. We'll just start down here. We'll just have the French go attack first here. Actually, I'm just going to do the French all the way down. Just kind of keep it easy. All right, I need 7s. That's a critical. Casualty check passed. Go here. No successes. We'll go here. I need 4s. It's 2 successes. And I passed. And we'll go here. 1 success. And I passed. All right, so that turned out pretty decently for the English. All right, let's go the other way. We're going to start from here down with the English. So they will attack first. We need 7s. Well, that's 2 successes with a critical. So I need a 7. Did not pass that, so they get 1. Go here. No successes. These archers, and remember they're getting 2 more attack dice because of those stakes. And need 7s. Oops, that was a failure. Critical. And 2 successes overall. Passed. I'll do this battalion. They're already kind of beat up, so they really can't take anything else here. 2 successes. and they failed, and they rolled their their kill number. So they are completely removed. And we're going to have 2 friendly units within line of sight and 2 centimeters. So we're going to take them off the board, and we'll make their command check. They passed, and we'll make the cavalry command. They failed, so they get 2 break. All right, second missiles. We have 1 unit of crossbows here, and they're going to target this unit here. That's going to be at long range. I need 4s. 1 success. English casualty check. Pass with a 10 and a 9. All right, that's the end of turn 7. Let's take our orders off. And let's make some command checks to see if we can remove break tokens. The English only have 1 unit or 1 battalion with a break token. They remove it, so they are still holding really, really strong. French will start here. This unit needs to remove 1, and they remove 2, so they are good. Check them. They remove theirs. Check this battalion. They remove theirs. Check this battalion. They remove 1 of theirs. Check this battalion. They remove both of theirs. And we'll check for this one. None. Check for this one. And they remove 1 of theirs. Oh, yeah, that didn't turn out too bad. It could have been a lot worse for the French there with the number of break tokens they had added up. All right, that's the end of turn 7. Let's go turn 8. Let's see what happens here. All right, we are in turn 8. I've already issued orders, so let's check initiative here. French 6 and 6. English 9 and 10. So English have initiative. They will activate this unit with first missiles. They don't move the English. They're going to activate this line of infantry here. So what's going to happen here is they're going to try to move in. These 2 are going to move in. They are all within range. The English are going to respond with first missiles. So this unit has first missiles. This unit has first missiles. I'm sorry, these 2 have first missiles, and they all have first missiles. So let's go ahead and do this one first. They're going to move in right here. So let's just take in. So these 2 basically are going to respond with the first missile attacks. So let's make their attacks. They're at a 7. 1 success. They passed. The other battalion. Look at that roll. Oops, that was a 9. That's 3 9s, so 3 successes. Ooh, and they respond. They pass, so they successfully engage in hand combat. These 2, what we're going to do is we're going to do 2 on this one and 3 on this one. And they're actually going to go here and here. So that's going to put these 4 at short range, and this one at long. So do use 3 there, these 2 here. We'll start here. So he's at long range, so he needs 7s, no successes. The next 2, get a bonus dice, no successes. Not looking good for the English archers here. 2 successes this time, and they pass. All right, we'll do these 2 now. No successes, and 2 successes with a critical. And it failed the casualty check. I needed a 7, but it didn't hit the kill number. The kill number was a 1. So they move in, but this one did get a couple of break tokens. So if things go bad in hand combat for them, they could be going the other way. These 2 are just kind of stacked up behind. Actually, they can kind of shift over a little bit, so we'll do that. Maybe they can kind of slide in that gap. They're going to activate with march orders. They don't move. Oops, I already did those. Grabbed the wrong one. They activate the march orders. They're not going to move. They don't move. They don't move. And they're not going to move. All right, so we're going to go on to combat now. First missiles, they've all already activated, so they can't. They've already actually, I should say, they've already shot their missiles this turn, so they cannot go again. Let's see. They activated, so they cannot go again. But these two have not, so they will target this cavalry battalion here. That's going to be long range, and my target number is a 7. So that's 1 success, but it's a critical, a 10. I passed the casualty check. All right, and the next battalion, that's going to be a leany here. So 1 success, and he passed the casualty check. Okay, so they're done. No one with march orders with missile weapons. Hand to hand, we'll start from here and go down. I'm just going to do all the French, and then we'll do all the English. All right, I've got 4s. That's a automatic break, and I've got 3 successes. But I passed. I needed an 8. That's what I got. Go here. 2 successes. Passed. Need 7s. Nothing. 7s. It's a critical. And 2 successes. Passed. I need 7. Need 4s. 3 successes. That's a failure, so they get a break. Here. It's critical. 1 success though. And they passed. So we've got a couple break tokens starting to pile up on the English now. Now for the English attack back, we'll start here. They get their 2 bonus dice for the stakes. I need 7s. 1, 2, 2. They passed. Next battalion of archers. That's 2 successes. And I need a 7. And they are dead. In hand combat, basically your hand weapons have a kill number of 2, whereas say like bows have a kill number of 1. So this battalion is removed, and we've got this one, that battalion, and that battalion, all with line of sight, all within 2 centimeters. So they're all going to make their command checks to see if they suffer any kind of loss of morale. They pass. They pass. They fail. So they did not like seeing their comrades there hightail it. All right, the English men-at-arms, 1 success. They passed. Do this one. That's a critical. And he passed. Archers. 1, 2, 3 successes. Passed. And last one. No successes, so that was not a good roll there for the English. Okay. Second missiles. We have still this one lone battalion of crossbowmen. They're going to target those archers there. I need 4s. That's 3 successes. Got an 8. That's what I needed. 5 plus 3, 8. So that is it for combat. Take all the orders off as we move to the end turn. Let's roll to remove break tokens. We'll do the English first. We'll start here. They remove that one. They do not remove one. Check here. They remove that one. We'll check here. They remove that one. Let's do the French. None of them are really in danger of fleeing, so they remove that one. They have 2, so they should get rid of, they got rid of 1, okay. Check for them. They did not. They got rid of theirs. And they don't get rid of either of theirs. All right, so that's how we stand at turn 8. Let's see how turn 9 turns out. I want to see if the English can hold up. They haven't lost anybody yet, which is a little surprising. But now the French are they got 3,000 more horse coming up here behind this line. So we'll see how well the French hold up. I'm sorry, the English hold up on turn 9. All right, we're in turn 9. We have orders issued. I just want to see how well the English line holds up to the incoming French infantry. And this may be the last turn. We'll just see. All right, so we'll do initiative. French have an 8 and a 1, 1 success. English 9 out of 10, so the English win initiative. So we're going to put these two on first missiles. The French here are going to move in, so this battalion's going to move those down a little bit. It's going to move into this gap. They're going to respond with first missiles. So it's four dice. That's a critical. And we have 2 successes, so I need a 7 pass, so they move in. So we'll take that token off since they responded. And this one's going to sit here just in case. Let's see. March on them. They're not going to move. We'll activate the cavalry here. They're not going to, well, let's see. What kind of range do we have? They're going to wheel about slightly. Okay, and they can move into combat. So they're going to, this cavalry battalion is actually going to go ahead and move in. So these two are going to respond with first missiles. So we got 7s. Oh, that's 3 successes, including a critical. So that could be bad here. Oh, but they passed. Got a 10. And the 2nd battalion, another critical. So they are right on the edge. If they fail this casualty check, then they're going to have some problems. They passed. Okay, so they're right on the edge here. So we'll remove that. And they move into combat. So this is where things could start turning kind of bad for the English. Activate them. They don't move. The crossbowmen don't move. They're going to be on first missiles. They're going to hang out there. They're on first missiles, so they don't move. And they're on march. They don't move. All right, so that is it for reveal orders. Movement. Let's go on to the combat phase. First off, we have first missiles. So a couple of the English archers have on this side have already activated. So we'll have this one activate. They're going to cast their arrows at here, I think. Let's check the range. Yep, well within range. So that's 3 dice. You need 7s. 2 successes. And that passed. So take that off. We have 3 more battalions of English archers here. They're all going to cast their missiles at the crossbowmen. I need 4s. Well, that's 3 successes and a critical. So I need they failed their casualty check, so it's another one. The 2nd battalion. It's 2 successes. So I need a 7. Oh, and that's 2 1s. So they are gone. And we're going to say they don't have line of sight because they're technically behind them. These 2 do, and they're within 10. So let's check to see if these 2 French battalions receive any kind of loss of morale. Passed and passed, so they do not. But that's the last of the the last of the French crossbowmen. Take that off. Take that off. That is it for them. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's make sure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At this point, really, the battle will probably be about over. I mean, the French have lost 5,500. They probably lost, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They've lost 11 battalions, so they've lost about half their force here. So at this point, they would probably really be about over, but we'll kind of keep going. All right, that's it for first missiles. We have no one with march orders with missiles. Hand to hand, we'll do all the French first, and we'll start down here. So I need 4s. 1 success. The English passed their casualty. We'll go here. I need 7s. 2 successes. I need a 7. They passed. Go here. 1 success. Ooh, that's a 1 and a 2. So they failed their casualty check, and I rolled that kill number. So we have our first English casualty of the game. Let's check their 2 the battalions on the other side for loss of morale. Well, there's 2 1s, so they definitely get 1. Let's check this archer battalion. 5 and a 5, so they get 1 also. That was not a good. Oh well, you know what? I want to keep them there because they do get attacked back. So let me just keep them right there for a moment so I can remember to attack back with them. All right, we'll go here against these archers. I need 4s. That's 2 successes, including a critical. Pass the casualty check. Go here. 3 successes. Pass the casualty check with an 8. That's 3 more successes. Failed the casualty checks. I needed an 8. And we got the cavalry. They have their heavy horse that gives them additional dice. So they roll 5 instead of 3. 1, 2, 3, 4 successes. I need 9s. Oh, I got it. There we go. All right. The English are going to attack back. We'll start here. Got 5 dice for the archers because of their stakes. Oh, there's a critical. And I needed 7, so 1, 2, 3 successes. Passed. We'll go men-at-arms. Pass. Oh, I'm sorry, one success. Passed. Go here, 1 success. They pass. We can take them off the table now. Back to the archers. We got 5 dice against 7s. 1, 2 successes. They fail. Here. That's 3 successes. They pass the casualty though. Go here. No successes. And we'll go against the horse. 8 7s. Nope, that's a critical. So they're above their break. 2 successes. And they failed. Alright, so no second missiles. That's it for combat. We'll go to the end of the turn. We'll take these orders off. All right, we'll roll to remove breakpoints. This is basically our little rally phase. All right, so the English, he removes it. They remove both of theirs. They remove theirs. All right, I'll start with the French here. Remove. 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 Now everybody's rallying up today. Oh, that's a leanie. Don't remove either of theirs. All right, so they need to remove. They really need to remove 2. The threshold is a 4, and they have 6, so they need to remove 2 of these. They will only remove 1. All right, so let's see what happens. On a pass, they withdraw. On a failure, they rout. 5 and a 2, that's a failure. So they rout from the field. Let's see if that unit's too far. But we do have this friendly. So we'll go ahead and take them off. And remove all these. They're going to make their casualty or command check. They passed. Okay. All right. That is it for turn 9. Let's go to 10. We're going to start turn 10. I may make this the last turn. We're getting a little bit long, a little bit longer than I wanted to go, I think. So we'll probably make this the last turn. All right, so we've got orders issued. We do have a little bit of gap in the English line, so this battalion is probably going to try to move into that gap. All right, let's see what happens. Initiative. French, 2 successes with a 10 and a 9. English, also 2 successes with a 10 and a 9. And since we have the exact same numbers, we'll just roll initiative again. 7 and a 6 for the French, 3 and a 3 for the English. The French go first. We'll activate here. So it's going to be this infantry. This battalion is going to swing around into the archers. They're going to try to take out the easier prey, I guess. They're going to move over a bit and cavalry. Let's see. First missiles, so they don't move. I'm going to activate them with March. They're going to now move forward. First missiles, they don't move. They aren't going to move. And that's pretty much going to be everybody else. No one else is really going to be moving here. Okay. So that's it for reveal orders and movement. Let's go on to our combat phase. The French have no one with first missiles, so the English should go activate first on first missiles. Well, they'll be the only ones. And I'm not sure if this unit can really, yeah, just barely. So to draw a line of sight, we need to go from middle of the base to middle of the base without it crossing over anything. And I think it just barely gets there. So these 2 battalions can target those, that French cavalry battalion there. So we need 7s. Ooh, look at that roll. 2 10s and an 8. So that's an automatic, and they failed their casualty check. They needed an 8. Highest I got was a 7. Next battalion. 2 more successes. Oh, look at that. And that's why you always check. They failed their casualty check, and they rolled the kill number, so they are going to be gone. We'll see if that has any effect on their neighboring battalion. It does not with a 10 and an 8, so they are going to be removed from the board. And that's it for them. Let's see. We have this battalion with first missiles, and I'm not sure if that unit's in close range. Barely, yep. Okay, so we got missiles here, and they are at close range, so we get the bonus dice. I need 7s, and I got nothing. One more unit with, or one more, I guess, brigade or unit with first missiles. These 3 are going to target. We're just going to do 2 here and 1 there. There we are, all at long range. We'll start here. That's a critical. And with 1 success, they pass. Next battalion, another critical. We got 2 successes that time. And they pass. Now the 3rd battalion is going to attack there. 1 success. And they passed. Okay. All right. No one with March with missile weapons. We're going to hand. We'll start with the French as we usually do and kind of work our way down. I need 4s. 2 successes. And they pass their casualty check. I need 7s. Oh, those are critical. And 2 successes, so I need a 7. They failed. And that's a kill. That's a 2. A 2 in hand-to-hand is a kill. So we're just going to move them back because they haven't attacked yet. Start right here, or go right here. Now, even though these archers are outnumbered, they don't get full attacks on each. They really have to decide how they're going to split up their attack dice when it's time for them to attack. All right, well, we'll do with the French here. You need 4s, no successes. It's a pretty bad roll. Here, 1 success. Passed casualty check. Here, 3 successes. Passed a casualty check with a 10. and here. That's 3 more successes. And pass the casualty check with a 10. All right, so the English are going to attack back. We'll go the archers here. They get the bonus, the 2 bonus dice because of the stakes. So they're at, need 7s. That's 2 successes. And they passed. We'll go here. Even though they're getting removed, they still get to attack. They have not, this is simultaneous hand combat. That's 3 successes, including a critical. And they failed the casualty check. So I guess they went out fighting there. But that's all for the English men-at-arms. The only thing they have left on the field at this point are archers. So this may start to get kind of ugly for them. We'll see. All right, we're going to put. So this unit is outnumbered. They have 2 battalions attacking them. We're just going to put all their dice into attacking this unit. I'm not going to split any of the dice up. So that's 5 dice. I need 7s. That's 2 successes, including a critical. Pass their casualty check. All right, we'll go here. Whoops. No successes. We'll go here. 1 success. And they failed their casualty check. All right, that is it for all combats. We go to the end of the turn. Let's remove orders. And let's remove breakpoints. The English have none. Let's do the French. Remove 1 of theirs. Remove both of theirs. They need to remove 1, and they do. That's all they needed. And right here. And they remove theirs. So at this point, I think we're going to. I think I'm going to call a game. I can kind of see it either going either way still, because we do still have a number of English archers that are not engaged. They may. I could see moving this one into hand-to-hand here. This one maybe, this battalion may be moving up to try to try to pepper this cavalry on the flank, but this cavalry could also turn and try to hit them. We still have 3 unengaged battalions of archers here that can continue to pour missiles on there. So I really could see this going either way at this point. But we'll end it here. And I thought that was a pretty nice little demo thing. I guess a couple things I guess I wish I would have seen that I didn't see at all today that I did see in our previous my previous test. I didn't see any kind of units retreating really causing a backlog. I think if we had seen a little bit of that, then you would have seen. I guess what I'm saying, the French actually arrived. Well, I guess fairly intact, as best as they really could have, I think. I think the lines arrived in combat as best as they could in regard to being intact. If there had been a couple of situations where some of the French battalions had simply retreated, as I saw in some of the previous play tests I did, that really caused some havoc with their lines. I think if we had seen a couple of those instances, that would have broken up the French advance significantly. Even 1 or 2 of them would have made up, I think, a pretty significant impact. Then I think the English archers would have had a bit more of an opportunity to get their missiles off. As it was, since that didn't happen, I think the French arrived intact as really as best they could. So casualty wise, the English, they only lost 2 battalions. The French, let's see, they lost all their knights, 2 battalions of horse. Let's see, they lost 6 battalions of foot, of their men-at-arms, and all 3 battalions of their crossbows. So that's a pretty significant difference here, and that can be directly attributed, I think, just to the terrain. Being the rough ground and just the compact battlefield, and with the with the English being able to concentrate their fire and the French being somewhat backed up, I think that directly contributed to the enormous French casualties. I mean, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, that's like 6,500 casualties versus 1,000. So that's a pretty significant difference. To the point where I think I'm not even sure if the battle would still be being waged at this point. The French may have decided that they had had enough and left the field. So anyway, that's going to be it for the demo. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks. Well, that's it for our demo today. As always, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you kind of learned a few things about the system. Again, the battalion scale rules are still kind of in development. I think they're mostly done, though we are still making some tweaks and maybe a few tune-ups here and there. So if you see anything that you have some criticisms about, or comments, or even suggestions, please feel free to hit us up on the comments below. Subscribe to the channel as always. You can also find us on Facebook. Just search out Ages of Conflict, and I'll have a link at the end of the video and in the comments where you can find us. All right, appreciate you watching. Thank you.